If your savings, your salary, and your investments are all in one currency, what happens if that currency quietly dies while you're busy arguing about elections and TikToks? Today we're talking about a global money reset that's already in motion, and what regular people can actually do about it. Welcome back to the comment section with Thomas Paul. Let's skip the drama and go straight to the part nobody wants to say out loud. Every major currency in history has died. Not most. Not many. Every. Single. One. The Roman denarius. Gone. The British pound as unquestioned global king. Gone. The Soviet ruble. Gone. The pattern is boringly simple. Governments spend too much, debts pile up, they try to fix it by messing with the money, and at some point the currency stops doing its job. Here's where things get interesting. Right now, for the first time, the U.S. government is paying more just to service its debt than it spends on the entire military. Let that sit with you for a second. The most powerful country on earth is paying more interest than tanks, jets, and ships, while also printing and borrowing more to keep the whole thing going. When I was 12, my parents lost most of their savings because they trusted a bank advisor who said, "It's safe, this is how everyone does it." Nothing exploded. Nobody screamed. Just quieter dinners and a lot more stress. That's how currency problems usually feel at first. Not like a movie, like a slow tightening of the belt. But it's even getting worse. The big idea from studying past currency deaths is this. They almost never look like a sudden crash from 100 to 0. It's more like a decade where your money slowly stops buying what it used to, and the people who don't notice early are the ones who get crushed. Look at Rome. They didn't just wake up one day and say, "Our coin is fake now." They shaved off silver, mixed in cheaper metals, and pretended it was fine. Prices drifted up. Trust drifted down. Empires do not announce, "Hi, we are destroying our currency." They do it while insisting everything is under control. Here's where things take a step further. Modern governments don't need to clip coins. They just adjust interest rates, print new money, add new programs, bail out this, subsidize that, and hope nobody adds up the bill. The end result is the same. Your dollars buy less, your savings feel smaller, and your risk is higher than you think. And remember, the U.S. dollar isn't just American. It's the plumbing of global trade. Oil, shipping, tech, AI chips, Taiwan, Asia, all of it sits on top of this dollar system. When that system strains, geopolitics stops being background noise and starts hitting your portfolio directly. But then the unbelievable thing happened. Around the world, countries are quietly asking, why are we so dependent on one country's money? You see experiments, more trade in local currencies, talk about new payment systems, central bank digital currencies. None of this replaces the dollar tomorrow morning, but it chips away at the idea that one currency is safely untouchable forever. Here's the key mindset shift taken from the whole every currency dies framework. Stop thinking in terms of, will the dollar disappear? And start thinking, how do I protect myself if it simply loses power, slowly, over time? Here's where things get interesting. History shows three big patterns before a currency reset. First, debt and deficits stop being a temporary emergency and start being the default. We're already there. Nobody in power is seriously talking about paying stuff down. The argument is just over how fast to add more. Second, inflation becomes sticky. Prices go up, then they don't really come back down. Your central bank fights it, maybe wins a round or two, but the long-term trend is up and to the right for costs and down and to the left for your purchasing power. Third, politics turns money into a battlefield. One side wants to spend on social programs, the other wants to spend on military and security. Nobody wants to tell voters, we can't afford all of this. So the currency quietly takes the hit, but it's even getting worse. Now add Taiwan and Asian tensions into that mix. Advanced chips, AI infrastructure, global supply chains, they all run through a tiny island and a few shipping lanes. Any serious conflict or blockade risk doesn't just move stock prices. It shakes trust in the whole system that uses the dollar to price global trade. If markets start to believe that the U.S. can't both fund massive deficits at home and police the world abroad without turning the money printer back on, they will price that in. And pricing that in usually means weaker currency, higher inflation, and more volatility in exactly the stuff sitting in your 401k. When I worked at a local newspaper in college, I watched the same economic story get 3 totally different headlines: economy booming, middle class squeezed, uncertainty ahead. Same data, different framing. That's what you're seeing now. Some people scream hyperinflation, buy canned beans. Others say, we're fine, this is normal. The truth is boringly in the middle. The system is stressed and you can't afford to be asleep. And here's where things take a step further. So what do you actually do? First, stop betting your whole life on one currency. That doesn't mean panic buy gold bars and dig a bunker. It means diversify. Some exposure to real assets like stocks, maybe some commodities, maybe real estate if that fits your life. You want things that represent real-world value, not just digits in one country's banking system. Second, diversify your where, not just your what. If all your investments are tied to one country, one economy, one political system, you're playing on easy mode for risk. International exposure, even through simple index funds, is a way to say, if my home currency stumbles, I'm not totally stuck. But then he said this unbelievable thing third: get comfortable with the idea that volatility is not a bug, it's a feature of a stressed currency system. If every 5% drop in the market makes you want to sell everything, that's not a risk problem. That's a strategy problem. You're investing on hope instead of a plan. In my early 30s, I ignored the hype and put money into something boring. No crypto, no meme stocks, no guaranteed 50% yields. It worked. Slowly. Everyone else's shiny plays either exploded or quietly faded. That's when I stopped believing in magic solutions and started respecting boring diversification. Here's where things get interesting. And if all of this feels overwhelming, the data, the geopolitics, the endless news, this channel actually uses the same tech you could use yourself. This video was created with fludge.io, the system that powers this entire channel. If you're watching and thinking, I'd love a YouTube channel that talks about this stuff, but I do not want to be on camera, that's literally what it's built for. It researches topics, writes a real script, creates thumbnails, uses an AI avatar, and can even upload to YouTube. Your job is to review, tweak, and hit publish. It's not low-effort spam. It learns from your feedback and gets sharper over time in any niche you care about. If that sounds interesting, check out fludge.io. Link is in the description, but it's even getting worse. Let's land this. A global money reset doesn't have to mean some dramatic one-night event. More likely, it's a long stretch where your paycheck buys less than it should. Your government keeps borrowing like tomorrow doesn't exist. Your investments swing more violently than you're used to. You cannot control that. What you can control is, don't trust headlines. Read the numbers. Don't trust promises of risk-free returns. Ask what happens if the currency weakens. Don't trust any politician of any party who says, we can give you everything you want and nobody has to pay for it. One quick disclaimer before we wrap this. None of this is personal financial advice. I'm not your advisor. I don't know your situation, and I'm definitely not telling you to buy or sell anything specific. Use this as a framework, then talk to a qualified professional before making big moves. But then the unbelievable thing happened. Now I want your take. Do you think we're already in the early stages of a slow global money reset, or do you think this is just another overhyped cycle and the dollar will cruise through like always? Drop your hot take in the comments. I read them. And yes, I see the spicy ones too. If you want more calm, no doom, no cheerleading breakdowns on money, geopolitics, and AI, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. This is the comment section with Thomas Paul. Take care of your money, because the system definitely won't do it for you.